Visit us at podlanderpresents.com to find information on all of our shows.
No milk today, my love has gone away. A bottle stands forlorn, a symbol of...
Wait. I know a song about milk, too. Milk, lemonade, round the corner fudge is made.
Welcome to Podlander Drunkcast, an Outlander podcast. I'm Amelia.
I'm Julie.
And we are just two hot lassies walking in the distance, singing their way. Because what the fuck else is there to do when boring tasks are afoot?
Yeah, when you're bored a little bit, or, when your mind wanders. Oh, I don't know why I would be saying that. We're here today to discuss the Outlander prequel series, Blood of My Blood, Episode 4, Season 1, Episode 4. The title of the episode is A Soldier's Heart. We don't know why that's the title. I guess maybe it's the PTSD plus the rent thing, maybe, coming up in it. I don't know, being kind? Whatever. Ugh. It was written by Macy Grace Smolsky,
whose work we know. Goose, Dick, Rocks, and Fears. Where do they go from here? That's Sassenach. I'm so sorry. I'm sure she gets Macy Gray jokes all the time, I just, I was pedestrian.
You went for it. Sometimes you got to go one for it. And this episode was directed by Emer Conroy. Okay, so this felt to me like a place filler episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're waiting. We're bringing the four threads together. We're bringing Julie and Henry together with Ellen and Brian more. This is like setting that up. Celebrate scaffolding, some might say. But you know what's boring is watching scaffolding get built.
Wow, I didn't realize that this was a scaffolding slander program.
Okay, well, let's get to it. Which plot do you want to discover? I think that the Ellen and Brian one is a little bit shorter this time than the Henry and Julia one. So if we start at the beginning with Ellen, she's hot and pissed because she's got to get married and she doesn't want to, right?
And the first thing we hear before we even hear her being mad is a bird squawking in the Great Hall.
She's walking around with her brother Colum, trying to figure out if she can find a soft spot in him to make this not happen. And then he says something about Malcolm Grant, and then he says, and then you, as his betrothed. And in the background, you definitely hear a bird whistle. And it's really loud. And it's outside of the sound mix of the rest of the ambient noise in the scene. And it's okay, we're going to do that now.
Yeah, I wrote down what happened in this scene. No idea. Bird.
So basically, it's Ellen trying to call him out to see if he'll maybe not make her get married, but no, he's going to make her get married. And that's what happens in this scene. Then she leaves and runs into Dougal in the hallway, and it's just more of the same. She tries to play him against Colum. He's like, you can't do that. We're not going to listen to you. You're getting married. And then she fucks off to her bedroom and stays there, I think, for a day and a half. We find that out later when Julia shows up. But I guess then we don't really see anything else until Julia appears of them, right? There's no Colum and Dougal situation. It's just Ellen trying to get out of getting married, but realizing I got to go hide in my bedroom now. So she does, pisses off. That's where Julia joins us, gets into the house. And this is how we find out that Brian has left Leathers to come meet Ellen in the middle of the night. We'll get more in depth about why Julia is there when we get to her plot. But Julia and Brian show up at Castle Leoch in the middle of the night. Julia gets her way in through Mrs. Fitzgibbons, pretending to be just some nice servant girl who is tired. And she talks to Ellen and is like, hey, psst, come on, Brian's out there. Let's go. Hustle it up, lassie.
But first, Ellen's like, the fuck are you? Is this a trap? Is this a trap?
Yeah.
And then Julia says the magic words. I'm the bridge. And Ellen's like, get in here, okay? You're...
Okay, did we hear a bird tweet at that moment?
Oh, my God.
So, frickin' Ellen takes Julia through the little hidey hole, through the priest hole. They get outside, they run out into the moor, and Ellen and Brian meet up. And it is really true that these two people are...
horny.
3,000% hot for each other. Like, they really do. I have to admit that the love at first sight thing is hard. It's hard to believe. Except it happened to me. And so I can't, every time I see it in like a movie or whatever, I'm always like, meh. Yeah, but whatever. Sometimes it happens, I guess. Yeah. Yes, the first time I saw Neil Starbird, I knew he would be my husband. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have you never heard that story before? Okay, Patty, quick sidebar. I'll make it as fast as possible. He had given somebody a ride to a college audition, a studio show. I had been talked into auditioning for the show, even though I didn't want to. We were both there on the same day. He showed up looking kind of scruffy. He didn't mean to audition. A friend had been working the door and got him to audition. So I read with him, and I was going to bury him. I couldn't wait to just like, who's this asshole who shows up looking like this shit? Reached out to shake his hand, looked at him, and I knew right away. I was like, well, there he is. That's the guy. It took him a lot longer to figure that out. But I definitely felt love at first sight, so I know it can happen. But it's such a hackneyed old gal.
Did you read the scene, like the audition scene from this show at your wedding as your vows?
No, because...
Vow renewal idea.
Well, the scene was 4 business dudes, and I played the waitress at the cafe that they were at for their businessman's lunch. It was a one act called Businessman's Lunch. And it was just me and 4 guys. Like, they were being varying levels of assholes to me. And Neil's character, he ended up getting cast, and he played the worst asshole, which was hilarious. But yeah, so love at first sight. Here it is. They really, Ellen and Brian, they in love. We're just going along with them now. Now we know. And Julia over there trying not to eavesdrop, but she can't help it. She's like, oh God, they're so cute together. And then they have to run away because somebody's walking out on the moors, and it's Dougal. Comes out and finds Ellen, and Ellen's like, I just came outside to pray. You want to join me?
And he says, like, I enjoy my sins too well to give them up.
And then she sasses his back by, like, which sin was it today? The gal with the ruby-colored lips. So she knows her brother's a horn dog. Do we see anything else from them?
We do, but first we need to mention that we got through the priest hole. Psst, psst, there's your boyfriend. Begins with, closed caption, nocturnal bird whistles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's right after she got outside, a bird did whistle.
Bird did whistle. A nocturnal bird, which sounds like a euphemism. I need you to look into your eyes and ken it for myself that you do not mean to marry Malcolm Grant. This is the first time Brian's seen Ellen since he heard the news. And it's all just like, we will find a way out of your betrothal. Anyway, see you at the festival.
Bye. Beltane's coming up sooner than you think.
We also can't forget how Ellen says to Dougal, I'm not a caged bird. We get it. Birds.
But we do, one thing that we get from this plot line is now we know that we have a ball to look forward to. Beltane's coming up. That's May Day. That's the big spring festival, right? Right?
Yeah.
Beltane? You guys, help us out. I'm pretty sure it is.
Otherwise, we'll be Beltane out our apologies.
You better. So we do know that is in the future. We're going to get to see some big festival type action, probably some great costumes, probably a lot of the stuff that we've already been asking for more of, the kind of pagan ritual stuff, where we're going to see a little bit more of that, I think.
Yeah. The last we see of Ellen is she brings Colum a list of wedding guests and is like, you're right. I don't want to lose our family familiarity. I gotta do the right thing for the clan. Even though...
This is dumb. And I don't want to.
But no, you're totally right. It's totally true. Let's do it.
Which really makes no sense. One thing we did learn...
She's playing him. It's great.
She totally is. One thing we did learn that is a reason for Colum wanting to get her married to the Grants is that Red Jacob was a little bit of a impulse spender. He liked to live high on the hog, and he spent all of the clan's money. So Colum is now, as the new laird of that particular side of things, trying to figure out a way to dig his family out of this and start making money again because they broke. And so Ellen had no idea.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a funny moment when he told her about it, because he knew that she thought her dad was pretty cool. She knew that her dad had faults. She didn't know all of his faults. And this was a definite bombshell for her. She had no idea.
No.
Which is kind of surprising because although I guess he wasn't studying telling anybody he was spending all the money, I guess. Whatever. So the end result is they're broke and they need the grants money. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And also the grants are scary. There's the whole thing about like betrothal is called off in the Grant family. And how interesting that the groom who left the Grant's daughter disappeared into the heather. And Ellen's like, so you're saying that Isaac Grant will have me fucking killed if I don't marry his son? That's grim.
Yeah. Well, we do learn a little bit about Mr. Isaac Grant towards the end of this episode that do make me believe that could be true. Okay, so that's kind of the Ellen and Brian storyline. It is definitely the B plot in this episode.
Yep.
This episode is all about Julia and kind of specifically Henry. Mm-hmm. So we see Julia first. The episode actually opens with Julia's storyline. Mm-hmm. She has successfully gotten pregnant, quote unquote, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And she's bringing milk back.
Mm-hmm. And then she spills some. And then she says, no use crying over spilled milk.
But you know who's not pleased with her stupid joke is Mrs. Porter. I think Mrs. Porter's had it about up to here with the likes of this Sassenach. She's just like, I don't have time for this shit. But what we learn about Mrs. Porter here is that she is very superstitious. Because she's like, well, didn't you think was it Grugerach?
Something like that.
Grugerach, which is some kind of Celtic fairy that has to do with milk or harvest or something.
You've angered the fairy folk.
Yeah, you done fucked up now. I don't know if you know about these people called the Fae, but they're serious and you don't fuck around.
And it's going to fuck up our food supply. And so then when Lord Lovett is due home from business in Edinburgh, we're not going to have anything to feed him. And it's going to be all your fault because you pissed off the fairies.
And what does Julia say right away? Oh, he's coming back already? That's like a response like, oh, crap. So Lord Lovett's been away for a while on business in Edinburgh, and we find out that it's like a month or so. So that definitely kind of gives a little smudge room to the old showing of the belly that she's pregnant and it's his, right? So that worked in her favor.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it kind of feels like Julia decides maybe it is time to believe in fairies. Like maybe she's thinking about the dick rocks and she's like, that was fucked up. Maybe there is something to this. Maybe, I don't know.
So I feel like she gets that from Ellen. So like in this part of the episode, and she's like, oh, should I go apologize to the fairy people, at the rock where you bring the offerings to the fairies? That's just an excuse to go get some nettles.
That's right. It's, first of all, an excuse to go outside, period. Secondly, an excuse to go a little foraging for a little pox looking shit.
And thirdly, an excuse to have a voiceover as a hand flits through the tall grasses.
Which looked exactly like a shot from season 1. I don't remember if it was in the credits, but it was definitely a shot that we have seen before. And I understand that we're trying to make a point that love through time can be very similar or related to each other or stuff, but kind of the reliance on Outlander season 1 is it's tiring.
It's vexing.
So she gets outside with a little cup of milk and she goes to whatever the little altar is. She pours the milk into this, it looks like made just for this purpose, bowl that's carved into the rock. See, once again, these are the things we want to see. And then she says some words, but this is basically her voiceover of her letter to Henry about what's going on with her right now. Then you see her pull a couple of what look like weeds at first. You don't really know what she's doing, but she's definitely harvesting something. And then she's back in leathers, rubbing these leaves on herself. And Amelia and I are like, what is it? What is it? And I was like, I think they're stinging nettles, but I'm not sure. And Amelia was all like, what did you say about it?
I was like, oh, she's trying to make it look like she has a disease so that Lovett won't want to touch her.
Right, because now she knows he's coming back. So Amelia was 1,000% correct about this.
As I always am about all things.
Yeah. And so when Lovett shows back up, first of all, he goes straight to the toilet.
Julie said, is he sick?
Is there something wrong with him? Because he's always on the shitter. And
give that man an Imodium.
Something. Or maybe he's a nervous pooper that can only poop on his little stone bench.
He's been holding it for a month.
Yeah, he can't release anywhere else but his own stone bench in his chambers or whatever. But Brian is out there while he comes in and they're talking about...
They only received one response from the Grants when Lovett had been like, I don't know, heard Alan's kind of
Minx.
a minx. Maybe you don't want to marry her to your son. And he's like, what do you mean they only wrote back once and they're kind of blowing us off? But the Grants are like, we don't think so.
No, it's fine.
Lovett's like, tarnished goods is what that woman is, and I'm determined to prove it. Okay, we'll see if anything comes of that.
Yeah. And so he's back. Claire, sorry, because she do look like Claire. Julia comes into the room with just this hideous rash all along the left side of her face, cheek, and on part of her arm. And she gets right up in his face. Like you could see she's kind of like turning her head a little bit so that he can see it. And he flips. He's like, what is that? What is that? She's like, oh, sometimes I get this. I don't know. It's relatively easy fix, but I have to go into town to
But
find
it is
stuff.
all over my body.
It's everywhere. And he's like, I don't want to touch that while I'm raping you. So why don't you go ahead and go to Bewley or whatever it is and get some medicine. Brian can go with you. Whatever. And then we get a Julia and Brian road trip, which is pretty cute.
Yeah.
They become friends. She is definitely maybe acting a little bit too smart. Maybe just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But he basically agrees to help her escape if she helps him with Ellen, which, of course, we know that she did. My favorite moment in this was something about she's asking him why he doesn't just leave Leathers. He's a grown man. Why the fuck don't you blow out of there? And he's like, nobody wants to marry a bastard. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Once again, whiny bitch baby. And she's like, you don't have to be getting married to blow out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he really doesn't have a response for that, really. So I don't know why he's still there. Do you think he's protecting his mom?
Maybe. Because he does say, like, I missed my ma's haggis.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to leave away because that cooking is too good. And if I don't have a wife who's going to cook for me, is that kind of it?
Might be.
Come on, Brian. But Julia extracts a promise out of him to help her escape eventually. Mm-hmm. And then she says something about a quote about worshiping children. God is what all children call
mother
their
is mother. Mother is what all children say as the name of God or something like that.
Something like
it
that.
might be another Barry quote because they established that
That's right.
she's a Peter Pan head.
Yeah, so I bet that is. And if Brian is like, you can read? And she's all like, record scratch.
A little bit.
She goes, yeah, I can read a little. Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure, Julia. So that's when we see Brian take her to Castle Leoch, which we've already discussed. And then on their way back, what happens there?
I don't have anything about their return, but while we are talking about Julia talking to Ellen in her chambers after giving the password, this is where Julia maybe comes around to fairy stuff because Ellen's talking about going to Beltane. I have to go on this date with this guy I don't want to marry, and maybe we're going to do the dance of 100 years. You know, when people go to this festival and then sometimes they're bewitched by the fairies and they wake up and it's been 100 years and everything they know is different.
Julia perks right up. What? Say that again? Say less? Say more?
And Julia's like, also, is the fairy hill marked by standing stones? Is this how I got here?
So her interest is piqued. And
I know.
That's them coming back and her saying, I'll take me to Beltane.
Yes.
Right. Take me with you. I will help you, Brian, now that I've met Ellen, and I see how truly in love you both are. Take me with you to the Beltane Festival, and I will help you get close to her. I will work to get you in there, buddy. One thing we did miss, though, because we kind of glossed over the Ellen Julia scene, is how good Mrs. Fitzgibbons is.
Oh, my God.
She's so kind. She's ready to help a sister out. She's so nice. She's a little bit oblivious. Like, she doesn't see her hiding or hear her knocking on the door or whatever. But when we were in the Patreon live for this watch along and we looked at the chats later, it is true. If you ever saw a person that looked like that again, wouldn't you be like, reminds me of that girl I met? So, Claire looks just like her.
This singularly hot person
that
I met 30 years
30
ago.
years ago. What? Why are you back? Like, anyway, that was kind of a funny nod.
Since we're wrapping up the Julia stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I believe the last thing we see after, we'll go to the festival. Go to the festival. Back at Leathers. Lovett has summoned Julia.
Starts to get handsy. She's like, hey, though, watch out, buddy. Watch out. She puts his hand on her belly and is like, I'm carrying something.
I'm carrying something precious.
Your child. And then for some reason, Mrs. Porter just comes strolling in. Like, what do you think that's about?
I mean, she had like laundry in her hands. Or maybe what do you think she was tailing Julia to make sure she wasn't alone with him?
I don't know, because she was doing that for a while. So here's my question. Does Mrs. Porter actually love Lord Lovett? I can't believe it. No way.
No.
But she does seem a little bit jealous of this, and obviously this isn't the first maid that he's done this with since he impregnated her. So it's kind of like, is it that she's trying to control... I don't know. Anyway.
I think it's just that she knows that it's not really Lovett's kid, and now that's going to be complicated.
There was a little eye to eye with Mrs. Porter and Julia about like, oh, it's his baby. Yeah, I'm looking at you, ho. And, Mrs. Porter's not going to say shit. She's like, all right, 10 toes down. I know it's not his, but I got you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that felt like.
But yeah, this was mostly Henry's episode, and I'm going to kick off this section by unwrapping an Underberg, the unofficial drink of Podlander Drunkcast. Underberg, tiny bottles of German bitters. After a rich meal, or in this case...
a boring episode of television.
Yeah, after a small nap.
Perk up with a berg. Thanks, Chris.
Delicious.
It really does do something.
Yeah.
It really does change your affect. Anyway, so old Henry Beauchamp.
Old Henry Beauchamp.
We've already seen a little bit in the first 3 episodes that he is truly suffering from a very bad case of post-traumatic stress disorder from his action in World War I. And so a lot of this episode has to deal with him moving through that, moving past it, having it happen to him. How does he behave with it? We get to see Julia dealing with him a lot with it. And there's this whole St. Anthony thing that I don't really care about. But the big story here is, in the past storyline, he is now the Bladier for House Grant, for Clan Grant. And this is going to be his first quarter day. What quarter day is when you go out and you get all the rents from the tenants in the clan. And we saw that in the OG series. Once again, it's kind of like a direct callback to something. And it's like, okay, fine. But it's Henry and Archbug. Diddy. Like an odd couple. And Laird Grant, will you look up that actor's name so we can talk about him?
I want to say it's Brian McCarty, but I could be wrong.
Something like that. The Laird of Grant, the Clan Grant, is kind of a dick, man. He's very powerful. He knows it. And he really doesn't suffer any mess. We've already seen him. He put his previous Bladier's head on a pike for trying to steal some of the mortgages or whatever that was. But he tells old Henry Beauchamp, hey, get out on the road. Take Arch with you. You're going to go around and you're going to collect the rents. But this year, we're going to up that rent by a shilling. And Henry's like, did you tell anyone? And Laird is like, no, I don't have to tell them. You just tell them that they owe an extra shilling. If you don't come back with a fat sack of coin, you saw what happened to the guy before you, right? So Henry's like, all right, let's do it. He's not relishing this. He's pretty stressed about it.
Yeah.
He gets out there, and of course, it's just like it was in the flagship series. Everybody's having a hard time. There's not enough money. Here's a pig. Remember Ned and the fine fat pig? It's like that again. Don't take the kind. You only take the cash, right? But everybody's got a sob story. And you see Arch over here like shaking his head like, no, get the cash. Get the money. And then you see Henry just like, everybody's so sad. I just don't. And then when he says something about the extra shilling, everyone's like, wait, we didn't know about that.
Yeah, how do we know that you're not just taking the shilling for yourself? Sassenach.
And then that gets some guy real riled up, and he throws a punch at Henry. And then this is where we learn that Henry can throw down. Mm-hmm. Henry can fight hand to hand, like really, really well. And we already saw a little bit, obviously we've seen a little bit of it in the World War I flashbacks. We saw a little bit of it when the Mackenzies tried to attack the Grants. Barushba. But he can really fight, and he knocks a guy out and then starts having a flashback, and he's seeing like a German soldier, and he's just
pulverizing that
his face. And you can see Archbug over there going, the fuck? Which is hilarious because Archbug is super asshole, but he's like, damn, maybe I don't want to fight with this guy. Okay. And so he comes out of it. He shakes himself out of it. It was something about the St. Anthony necklace, right? Didn't a necklace come off of him and hit the ground? And it shook him out of his flashback.
Yeah. Although someone in the Patreon, like, watch along chat said he went full St. Anthony. He lost it. I think that's what Larissa made that joke. That was very
he
good.
Lost
great.
it. Get it.
Great
get
job.
it. Get it.
Get it.
So he comes back out of it a little bit, but I think that seeing the medallion or whatever it was came off of somebody, or it came off of him, maybe?
Came off of him.
Came off of him. He saw it, and it took him back to his cute little Coldwater flat where he and Julia live in London in 1918 or whenever. And first of all, this apartment is cute.
It's very cute.
Secondly, it is in downtown London. This is not like, I mean, you can see St. Paul from the window. Like, this apartment now costs more than the GDP of Iowa.
Wow.
Shots fired at one Amelia Bazell.
Wow.
Dr. Ham on the loose.
We have many fine hogs.
Fine fat pigs.
Fine fat pigs.
Will you take it for our rent? So we flash back, and we have several of these, right? That's kind of showing us how Julie and Henry have been dealing with reacclimating to married life after the war and everything. We see that Henry's trying to get a job at a solicitor's office.
To remind us he's a lawyer.
Yeah, remember? Psst, psst, remember, he's a lawyer. Psst. And it's all about him getting an interview, and Julia's like, great, can't wait for you to do that so I can go back to school. So we've got a real nerd on our hands here.
Oh, yeah.
And the St. Anthony's medal is, she gives it to him after a particularly bad flashback that happened after they had a whole conversation about the lottery. She was going to go buy a lottery ticket, and it was some kind of war effort thing or something local, like buy a ticket, help support this group. And Henry's over there at the table with his little soft-boiled egg and his coffee, like, I can't believe you're so smart, but you do this dumb shit.
Yeah, like, aren't you a suffragette who likes books?
And then we see a suffragette poster on the wall, and I'm going to need y'all to bring it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Did you see it right away? It flashed over and it said votes for women. And it's like, you were so close. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, but I like it. It's fun. And it's a way to support this thing. It's not like I'm buying them all day, every day. Cut to her in the bathroom with a scratch off and like trying to find a quarter in her pocket.
I'm thinking like, or something like, though we love mustaches individually, when they write for television, they're awful stupid.
Glenna Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
So
pour one out for Glennis.
So, he has this flashback about the lottery, which listen, here's the bag. Here's what we know about Henry right now. Number one, he can fight. Like, hard. Number two, he's smart. And he allows this memory of the lottery and maybe kind of his opinion about the people who subscribe to the lottery a little bit. And he's like, I'm gonna put together a rent scheme. I got this. And so here's Archbug standing over here, sour face, just pissed. And it's the next day of collecting rents. And Henry lays out to everyone there. He's like, okay, here's the thing. Here's the ting. So your rent has been raised by a shilling. This was not my decisions. This was the laird. But here's the bag. Any shilling extra over the rent that you owe us that you can give will buy you a ticket. Here is what they are. ticket on one side has this number. You have a matching ticket. We take our version of the ticket and put it in a hat. And then he straight up pulls the beret right off Archibug's head, which I was living for.
Incredible.
Yeah. And he's like, we put our version in here. You hold on to your version. And then at the end, when we announce the winner, we will draw one ticket from Archibug's hat. And that person will get free rent for the next year. And all of a sudden, that money is flowing in. And Archibug at first is pissed. Then there's a kind of like, I can't believe it's working. I can't believe people are doing this. Okay.
Yeah, fewer honeycombs, more cash.
More shillings, right. And then they get back. Do we see him at the Kitty Hoos before that?
Yeah, that's the first time we see him in this episode.
Okay, sorry.
So
when we'll get to the Kitty. We'll keep Kitty Hoos together.
Okay.
So let's finish quarter day. So he does have a flashback at night and has a nightmare. And so now Archibug knows something about him.
Mm-hmm.
Archibug heard him screaming the name Julia. He saw him kick something over. Henry's like, it was a nightmare. Get over it. Go back to sleep. So we can see that Archibug and Henry Beauchamp, no likey.
No likey.
No likey.
And also, oh no, once again, Archibug has deduced the name of a lady love and perhaps will be able to use that for leverage.
In some time against this person that they don't like.
Wow.
Not like Rachel and Ian and the friendship and whatever.
That said, I would like to shout out our actor playing young Archibug.
He's killing
Terrence Ray.
Terrence Ray, you're doing an excellent job. Because I want to punch you in the face.
Yeah, and also you're hot. And I'm still terrified of you and I want to punch you in the face. Like, that means you're good at your job.
Yeah, you're really serving Archibug realness and we appreciate it.
Yeah, the glowering. Oh, the glowering.
And so has he not gotten married yet? So there's no Mrs. Bug yet, right?
It's my chance.
Fucking get in there, ham on the loose. Okay, so they get back to, what is the name of the Grant's fucking mansion? I do not remember.
I don't know. Let's call it Galena because that's where President Grant had his house.
Perfect. So
until we remember the real name, they go back
Galena.
To Castle Galena.
The Pemberley of the lairdhips. And they come into old Laird's office and are like, hey man, look at this. I did this whole scheme.
Got you doubled the money.
Doubled the money. And here's where I think that this is some BS. That guy would have been so happy. If his whole thing is money, dude just got double what would have ever shown up. He would not have been mad. He would have been like, sweet. So I think it was a little bit unearned, but he is a dick.
But also Henry kind of did play the lottery off as like you will win a favor of kindness from the laird, and like that's the last thing that a Highlander laird wants to be is like
You're right.
the nice laird.
I'm not nice. That was kind of his thesis statement is yeah, but I'm not nice. And you know what? He is not nice.
He is not nice.
And the actor, this is the one that passed, right?
Yeah, this is Brian McCarty.
And we found out from the live show chat that he had played McCranach in the flashback in the flagship, the one that gave Ellen the pearls. I'm sure we'll see whatever that is coming up. Mm-hmm. The pearls that Claire famously wore by the fireside while just cowboying the shit out of Jamie.
Yeah.
Right. We all remember that. We do. So he played that part, and then they brought him back to play the Isaac Grant. Daddy Grant. And he was, I'm so sorry, terrifying.
He was very scary.
Yeah, he's a scary man because he's that man that can kind of grin at you while the eyes are dead. It's a little bit like a Putin thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Snake right away. You're just like, don't fuck with this guy. Ooh. So he passed during filming. Mm-hmm. And I guess they're going to use whatever footage they have of him for the rest of this season. And then I don't know whether or not the Grants will continue to be a thing or not. So we'll see. But anyway, good job. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Julie, let's honor his memory.
Yeah.
For one more moment.
Mm-hmm.
When I look up his name.
Go on.
The hero image on one article is a throwback photo.
Uh-huh. That was him when he was young?
That is a hunky gentleman.
Damn.
He's giving 90s floppy hair, piercing blue eyes.
That's what Neil looked like when I fell in love with him.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Folks, if you want to see what photo we're talking about, when you Google Brian McCarty, it's one of the first results. It's the parade.com hero image.
That's exactly what Neil looked like.
Wow. Good job, Julie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had Civil War teeth, but we got that fixed. So good job, Brian McCarty. Thank you so much for your work. You were impactful in the few scenes that you've had so far. And I'm sure you come back in a few more episodes, but thank you, RP.
Yeah, RP. Bug says to Grant, want me to kill him? And Grant says, not yet.
Because he's smart. He's
smart.
I know he's smart.
But before this happens, before Henry leaves the scene, he says, this won't be the first such scheme in history, and it will not be the last. Henry invented the lottery.
No way. Lottery's been around longer. There's got to be freaking Neanderthal or caveman shit where there's something about a black stone and a big bowl of stones. You know what? Yeah, that exists. That's been around since humans have had a brain. He does have a little bit of a flashback when Henry has a little bit of a flashback when Grant starts really getting into his face, and it is pretty intense. And Henry says, you can take the rent out of my payment. If the year's rent is the problem here, take it. I don't give a shit. What's going to happen is everybody's going to love you now and will be happier to pay the rent. And I doubled your income.
Yeah.
I literally doubled your income. And this is where Amelia and I were like, why he's so mad though? It's patriarchy will kill us all.
Men would rather not be excited about being rich than go to therapy.
Yep. Always. There's something there.
Okay.
And then the sex worker shit. So we all know that Henry has a friend at the Kitty House who is helping him try to find Julia. I've been told it is a British woman. She has kind eyes, dark hair. And so...
really good at Sudoku. Parallel parks on the first try.
Can break that code, bring her in. Yeah. And so I don't know why he decided to go to the Kitty House.
Because Una's like, I found her. I found her. Great news. You're looking for a parallel parking genius who's British and has nice eyes. I got her for you.
I found her. And you can feel Henry's excitement, but we all know it's not going to be Julia, right? He's just so hopeful. He's like almost like a little puppy. And then it just happens to be a Scottish sex worker who's been told to pretend she's British. She does have very kind eyes, though.
She does.
And he has a whole conversation with her like, no, this is not what I wanted. Have you ever been so excited to see something and then be so disappointed? She's like, as somebody who works in this industry, yes, I have. And so they kind of, it's not really a friendship, but it is a kindness. Like he's like, don't worry, the money's yours. We don't have to do anything. Just have a nice night. And was it Lord John Grey that was like, the best thing a gentleman can do is buy a woman a night off? So the first time is, she kind of has to let it go. She does let her boobs out at one point. And he's like, no, yeah, put those away.
Because he says, okay, you're not who I'm looking for. Drop the act so I know who I'm talking to. And she's like, drop the act. Act. Is that slang for my stays?
And then she takes him off, lets the boobs out, and he's like, no,
put those away. Put those away.
And then she puts on what I perceive to be kind of a sumptuous dressing gown.
Oh, yeah.
It was very nice.
It looks soft.
So maybe this is a high value person in Una's circle. Based on the interplay, based on the conversation, based on the eyes, the kind eyes, maybe just a really good listener. And this is what happens. Henry goes back. And this time it's not, she tries a little bit harder. You can tell that she would do it. You could tell that she would do it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for the money. She's like, this guy is sad and kind, and maybe I could make him feel better. I don't know. But Henry's like, no, I just want to lay here. And then he lays down on the bed like he and Julia did in their apartment, where he's on the right side of the bed on his right side. And it's sad.
Yeah. And like we'd seen Julia sing "Take Me Back to Dear Old Blighty." And so there's this like Henry does a great line delivery. I don't mean to besmirch that, but when he's asking like, can we just lie down? I was fully expecting him to be like, can you just sing me a few bars of "Take Me Back to Dear Old Blighty"? Like I was expecting a Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy fuckery.
I thought that was what was going to happen too.
Yeah.
Luckily, they did not do that.
Yes.
And then Henry laid down and curled up on it with his Grant tartan around him and just like, oh, he's screwed too, but screwed in a completely different way than Julia is screwed.
Yeah. This
This is the first time we've seen Julia have like even a modicum of hope.
Of what?
You heard me. I don't want to say it again.
There's one more piece of Henry and Julia business that we must discuss.
Please do.
Please do not forget, right before we see him go back to the house, the Kitty house. We're in 1917, 18, whatever. And it's another, wake up from the dream. Here's the St. Anthony, Blighty, etc. comfort routine. And Julia says, "Let me and this baby be your guiding light." And Henry says, "Let's name the baby Claire. French for clear and bright. Like our future."
Knock, knock,
Do
knock.
we get it?
Knock, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. It's the future. Here I am. I'm not clear and bright. I'm a little bit dark and twisted. And you both fall through some dick rocks and lose each other and maybe never come back. Bye.
Bye.
Two things I do want to call out in this episode, just overly speaking. It definitely was a scaffolding episode. It was, sometimes these are just, they build them because they want you to have like a strong foundation of blah, 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 blah. But it's not always compelling to watch. Fine. There was good acting in it. Everybody did a great job, specifically Archibald. Like, just fine. But there was a lot of excellent Scotland porn.
Oh, it was like a babbling brook.
Oh my God, that stream that came down the big flat rocks, the kind of like muted browns and greens because we know it's autumn, but it's towards the end of autumn. Just this incredible overhead shot of like these mountains leading into a lake that was so pretty.
Well, then the festival can't be May Day if it's the end of autumn.
No, but it's coming up. They're talking about it coming up. So maybe it's wintertime?
So see you in 6 months?
Maybe it's wintertime? Maybe it's just the next big fest? I don't know. Let's look up Beltane. Let's go Beltane. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. I'm not a witch, so I don't know what Beltane is. Let's find out.
It is May Day.
Okay.
Well, but that's just a long time to wait. And also, how is Julia going to be able to wingman Brian at the festival? Because by then she will be so pregnant.
Well, maybe it's more like February or March, and that's what we're looking at with the kind of dying leaves, but it's starting to slowly come back because there were a little bit of greenery around there, but it was mostly brown. Right?
Milk, lemonade.
You know what? Bye.
Bye.
That was amazing.
So,
Excellent.
words escape me.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent is the only word that I can think of. Anyway, thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. We would like to hand you each an award for excellence in listening to our bullshit.
You all very much deserve it.
Yes. But yeah, thank you for listening. You can find more information on this and the rest of our shows at podlanderpresents.com. You can also find us on Instagram at podlandercast, at podlanderpresents, and at other various Instagram handles for our other various shows. Our Instagram and website are wrangled by Amelia Ham on the Loose Bazell.
Woohoo!
That's me. All Podlander Presents programming is produced by Allison Shoemaker and Julie Starbird. Our editor is Chris Barrett.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Oh my God, seriously, thank you, Chris. Our artwork is by Viv Pickles, aka Laura, and we are, as always, eternally grateful to our drunk Slack moderators, particularly Moderator-in-Chief Jenna Polkowski. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/podlanderdrunkcast, where you can find all kinds of cool stuff, including access to our Slack, our mostly kind of sort of weekly live watches, early access to episodes, some bonus content, and other fun things. Again, that is patreon.com/podlanderdrunkcast. You can also support us by leaving a review wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Wherever, just give us a little review, and we will be so grateful to you. And in addition to all of those wonderful people who do all of those wonderful things, we want to especially thank the following just absolute stacked roster of lovely folks who support us on Patreon.
Okay, so I don't really read the name list, so bear with me, but we're getting into it, okay? We want to thank all of you, but very specifically, we want to thank Bonnie, not a prince or a douche, just my name. Jessica Brewer, Kristen Bennett, Susan S., Gwendolyn Wind, Evietta Chapman, Copper 29 Dragons, Nicole Koenig, Mariana Morris, Ginka Soja, Susan Springer, Cindy Elliott, Jay Deich, Andrea, Catherine Bullard, Vanessa, Rebecca's Gift, Amanda Chappell, Kristen Z, Melissa Mendez, Leslie Jamie, Jennifer, Tara Ross, Victoria Pegg, Aditi Joshi Parker, Laura Coach Mama LT, Tracy Stewart, Amy Allison, Brenda, Shayna Vaughn, Aaron, Diana Sprague, Ashley LaHue, Doc JWS, Karen Shane, Elisa Kerkowski, Tanya Rick Stair, Amanda Miller, Megan Rich, Kate Snipes, Ann Romeo, Naomi Beckman Strauss, Sydney Taylor, Alyssa McGuire, Laura Mahoney, Ashley Winteroth, Midnight Burger, Anna N., Dakota Girl, Margot Mansfield, Snazzy Knack, Lisa Brian, Julia Gulia, Kathleen Martini, Jessie Massey, Taryn, Kelsey Kemp, Emily Day, Caitlin Reddick, Katie in Kilts, Molly, Maria DeVito, Rachel Agbar, Kristen and Emerson, hi Emerson, Larissa Malmstat, Freckled Fury, Laura Calm, Amelia Bazell, him and the loose, Patrick, Liz Peniston, Danny Bryant, Lindsay, Caitlin Rose, Megan Matthey, Denise Perkins, Monica, Lori Johnson, Sarah McElvain? McElvain. I'm going with that. Brittany Hulbert, Amy Gustafson, Rachel Townsend, Meredith Kersey, Amber, Liz, Kelly Mazzella, Chantel Salters, Mary the Falling Statue, Karen J. Young, Philip Nako, Tara Lucchino, Viv Pickles, Mary of the Grapefruit, Jean Kiesler, Christy, Jenna Polkowski, Scotty Caldwell, Ann Gibson, Kristen Flannery, Katie G., Tori Bryan, and Kiki the Wise. Thank you all so much. We're just going to keep doing it, so keep listening, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.